Welcome back to XFO Intelligence Podcast. I'm here with my co-host, and today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating. This idea of a cognitive collaboration revolution. When I first read about this concept of knowledge not being static information, but dynamic predictive models, it really made me stop and think.
Oh, absolutely. And what's particularly intriguing to me is this notion that we're witnessing a fundamental transformation in how humanity generates and processes knowledge. It's not just about having better tools, it's like we're rewiring the entire knowledge ecosystem itself. The article mentions this shift from viewing knowledge as a fixed commodity to something more fluid and adaptive. Can you imagine what that means for how we learn and grow as human beings?
That's exactly what I was wondering about. Throughout history, humans have developed knowledge through observation, experimentation, and passing down wisdom through generations. But now we're talking about collaborative intelligence systems that blend human creativity with machine-scale pattern recognition. It makes me curious. Are we fundamentally changing what it means to know something?
That's such a profound question. And the article talks about these systems operating through rhythmic pulses of exploration and refinement, almost like breathing. They balance discovering new things with deepening our understanding of what we already know. It's fascinating because it mirrors how our own minds work, but at a scale we've never seen before.
What really gets me excited is this idea of self-organizing knowledge networks. The article describes how valuable connections between ideas naturally strengthen while less productive pathways fade away, all without central direction. It's like ideas themselves are evolving and finding their optimal relationships. I'm curious, though, what does this mean for human agency in knowledge creation?
That's such an important point. The article emphasizes that human agency remains central. The goal isn't to replace human judgment, but to augment it. I think about fields like healthcare, where they're integrating genomic data with clinical research and individual patient histories. The machine can identify subtle patterns across massive data sets, but it still takes human wisdom to interpret what those patterns mean for actual patient care.
And speaking of healthcare, can we talk about how this is already happening across different domains? In scientific research, they're seeing accelerated discovery cycles where insights from one field rapidly inform breakthroughs in another. Cross-pollination between disciplines is becoming systematic rather than accidental. As someone who's always been fascinated by interdisciplinary thinking, this sounds like a dream come true.
It really does. And in the business world, organizations can now process complex market signals and emerging trends to identify opportunities long before they become apparent through conventional analysis. Decision-making is shifting from reactive to predictive. But here's what I find most intriguing. In education, we're moving toward adaptive learning pathways that respond to individual student needs. Each person's learning journey could become truly personalized.
That brings up something I've been thinking about: cognitive diversity. The article mentions this as a crucial consideration. In our quest for optimized knowledge systems, we need to preserve space for unconventional thinking and alternative approaches. How do we balance efficiency with diversity of thought?
That's such a critical balance. The most robust understanding emerges from multiple perspectives, not just the most efficient pathways. I think about indigenous knowledge systems, artistic ways of understanding the world, or even just the value of a child's fresh perspective on a problem. We can't let efficiency squeeze out the beautiful messiness of human curiosity.
Exactly. And there's this ethical dimension too. As knowledge generation becomes more powerful, we need to ensure these capabilities serve broad human interests. The article talks about ethical stewardship, maintaining transparency about limitations and uncertainties. It's not just about having powerful tools, but using them wisely.
Which brings us to this incredible vision they paint of a global knowledge ecosystem where understanding develops through distributed, collaborative processes. They say the most valuable skill becomes knowing how to generate knowledge effectively, how to ask better questions, design more insightful collaborations, recognize meaningful patterns. It's like we're all becoming knowledge architects in some way.
I love that phrase, knowledge architects. And here's what really fascinates me about the future. The article suggests that knowledge grows through sharing and application, not through hoarding. It's the complete opposite of a scarcity mindset. The more we share understanding, the more understanding we all have access to.
That collaborative aspect is so hopeful, but I keep coming back to this fundamental question: how will this change us as human beings? If our partnership with AI systems becomes the seamless dance of human creativity and machine intelligence, how might that reshape our cognitive abilities over time?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Will we develop new forms of intuition? Will our capacity for pattern recognition expand? Or will we become more specialized in uniquely human capabilities like ethical reasoning, emotional intelligence, and creative synthesis? The article talks about this as more than a technological revolution. It's a fundamental evolution and how we understand understanding itself.
And that phrase really captures it: understanding itself. I think about children growing up in this new knowledge ecosystem. They'll naturally learn to collaborate with AI systems, to ask questions in ways that generate the most insight, to think in terms of dynamic models rather than static facts. It's like their relationship with knowledge might be fundamentally different from ours.
Which leads me to wonder about the broader implications for society. If knowledge becomes this flowing, collaborative resource, how might that change our institutions, our democracy, our global cooperation? The article mentions that the future belongs to not those who have the most knowledge, but those who can generate the most understanding.
That distinction is so important: having knowledge versus generating understanding. It makes me think about curiosity as perhaps our most valuable human trait. In a world where information is abundant, but understanding is what matters, our ability to ask meaningful questions becomes paramount.
Encouragingly, so here's what I'd love our listeners to consider. How are you currently developing your knowledge and understanding? Are you mostly consuming information, or are you actively engaging in knowledge creation? And how might you start experimenting with collaborative approaches, whether that's with AI tools, diverse human perspectives, or interdisciplinary thinking?
Yes, and think about this in your own field or area of interest. What would it look like to shift from viewing knowledge as something fixed to something dynamic and evolving? How might that change the questions you ask, the collaborations you seek, or the problems you choose to tackle?
The article suggests we're moving toward this future where addressing complex challenges requires collective cognitive reach that transcends what any individual or a traditional organization could achieve alone. That's both exciting and, honestly, a little humbling. We're part of something much larger than ourselves.
Absolutely, and I think that's perhaps the most profound shift from thinking about knowledge as individual achievement to understanding it as collective exploration. We're all contributors to this expanding web of understanding, each bringing our unique perspective and capabilities to the larger conversation.
Ponderingly, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something that's been on my mind throughout this discussion. The article talks about preserving human agency while embracing these powerful collaborative systems. How do we stay meaningfully human in this partnership? How do we ensure that augmenting our intelligence doesn't diminish our humanity?
Wisely, I think the key might be in remembering that wisdom isn't just about processing information, it's about understanding meaning, context, and values. Machines can help us see patterns we might miss, but we still need to interpret what those patterns mean for human flourishing. Our role becomes more about stewardship and guidance rather than just analysis.
Sincerely, that's beautifully put. And maybe that's the most hopeful aspect of this whole transformation. It's not replacing human judgment, but elevating it. We get to focus more on the uniquely human aspects of knowledge, creativity, ethics, empathy, and wisdom, while our AI partners handle the heavy computational lifting.
Invitingly, so to our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. How are you experiencing the shift in your own work or learning? What excites you most about the future of human knowledge development? And what concerns do you have about maintaining our humanity in this new landscape?
Encouragingly, great questions. And remember, this isn't some distant future we're talking about. This transformation is happening right now, all around us. Every time we use AI tools to help us think through problems, every time we collaborate across disciplines, every time we share knowledge openly, we're participating in this cognitive collaboration revolution.
Cheerfully, thanks for joining us on this exploration today. Until next time, keep questioning, keep collaborating, and keep growing your understanding. The future of knowledge is something we're all creating together.
Enthusiastically. See you next time on XFO Intelligence Podcast.